team, today I wanted to chat about the importance of joy and how understanding joy can kind of be the key to unlocking our child's unique giftings, the thing that is going to set them up to be of service and successful in this world, but how it's also the key to creating a sustainable home education environment. So firstly, just to get it out of the way, academia is recognising that joy has a super important role in a child's learning. In a paper called Neuroscience and Learning Through Play, researchers Liu and Solis pull together a literature review. As you can imagine, they conclude that the experience of dopamine, so that's basically the joy hormone, results in an enhanced ability to process and retain information. So that's kind of interesting. You can see that in a few kind of reformist expressions of the classroom, people are trying to bring joy and play in, at least up to like a certain age. In the unschooling world, we kind of see joy and learning as being the same thing. They are two sides of the same coin. But on top of this, understanding where your child really experiences joy is a great insight into who they are and where they will be best placed in this world. So I've referenced it already, but I've just finished reading this book called The Big Leap, which I really enjoyed, and it asks us to move out of our zone of competence and our zone of excellence and into our zone of genius, because it is in our zone of genius that we are best able to serve, best able to bring our dreams to life, and more likely to experience success and even wealth. But it asks you all sorts of questions to help adults discover their zone of genius. And that's basically because if you're like me, you've spent a lifetime not within your zone of genius. And one of the questions that it asks us to consider is what we love doing as a kid, because that is so important in understanding what makes us tick and what will lead us into greater authenticity and greater fulfillment of who we really are. It's that important. As home educators, you get to spend a lot of time figuring out what it is that makes your kid tick. I was about to say your tick kid. In fact, if you want to boil unschooling down to one thing, it's possibly this. See what makes your kids' eyes light up and bring more of that into their life. My friend Amy, she's so amazing. She's our Learning Collective facilitator, was chatting with me about this over lunch today. She mentioned that actually this is a key thing in quite a lot of important unschooling texts. One of my favourite articles is by Carol Black, 1,000 Rivers, and she actually concludes her whole piece. I'm going to read it. So I highly recommend this by Carol Black. So she says, "What are we to do with this child, this completely unique constellation of human gifts and brilliances and burdens, this unique, radiant human child who stands before us today, right now, this very minute? Watch your child's eyes. What makes them go dull and dead? What makes them brighten, quicken, and glow with light? That is where learning lies." So that's a little hack for you today. If you're trying to figure out unschooling, figure out what to do, just take that one simple rule and apply it. But there is another really important way that joy impacts your child's learning journey, and that is around you as the parent, as the person that is holding the space for your child's learning. Joy is the key for you as well. In a brilliant book, The Endorphin Effect by William Bloom, I highly recommend that book too, he chats about how our body is equipped with a full set of hormones that can... what is happening, son? Get out of here, son! I'm trying to talk about joy, for goodness sake. So yeah, he talks about how your body is equipped with all of this amazing physical stuff to help you tap into happiness at any one time. And that once we are tapped into our innate joy, everything is easier. Everything is easier. We're more creative. We have more ideas. We're more strategic. We're way more resilient. And he has a lot of ways to help us tap into these joy hormones, our delicious endorphins. But his big thing is do more of what you love. This also comes up in the great book, Self-Design. Literally, son. What the heck? Just when I don't think it can get any more intense. He points out that doing a lot of what you love puts you in a resource state. That's what he calls it, a resource state, where you are resourced right up and you can begin to see how you can do something that you weren't able to do before. Basically makes you super duper resilient. In his book Self-Design, he talks about how a child was really struggling to read because there was a lot of crunchy pressure on that kid from the parents, and he basically asked the adults to step back and not get involved, and insisted the kid just spend 2 months just doing what he loves. And through the 2 months he had a 1-hour conversation with the kid where he just explained, you know, reading is pretty simple. You know, you could probably do it when you're ready. And by the end of the 2 months the kid was like, I've got it, I just know how to read. That's like about the kids, but I really want to draw attention to you as a parent and your joy state, your resource state, because this is so important. This is what will make the difference between you being able to unschool for a few weeks or a few months or a couple of years, or for your whole life, to see yourself as a lifelong learner. And I want to acknowledge that this can be really hard as a parent, as just someone living in 2020. We've been kind of conditioned away from sort of self-love and valuing our wants and our needs. As parents, we often put all of that on the back burner. But I just want to encourage you now to see that joy seeking for yourself as a parent is a way of making your unschooling home super sustainable and super life-giving. Tell me in the comments what joyful thing you are planning on doing today. I love hearing from you. If you want to delve more into the academic underpinnings of unschooling or the kind of key components of the unschooling home, you might want to check out my course Disco. People are finding this super helpful. It's even persuading unpersuadable spouses. So yeah, you might want to check the link below to see if that is up your alley. Wherever you are in the world, much love to you and take care. Mwah!